it's because of the challenge they go through even to get that D+, not like people who are able.
Chair, through you, Governor, we have previously rejected this argument that somehow certain people don't apply for positions. I remember when we were discussing this issue of ethnic balance, you cannot tell me that a Kikuyu staying in Kitale will refuse to apply for a job, and then there's a colleague of yours who came and told us that people from outside that county do not apply for jobs. You and me as political leaders know what exactly is happening in our counties, because there are people who think certain counties belong to certain people, so that if you come from Bungoma, you can't apply for a job in Trans Nzoia. They will tell you, nyinyi muko na yenu. Especially because of the special nature of PWDs. I agree with you. This is an affirmative action measure, so that there have to be deliberate efforts to be able to get them to even apply. It is not something you just say they don't apply. We have rejected that argument here. And if you ask these senators here, actually Kenyans want to work. We are asked for jobs every day. They send me messages in the thousands saying, I just want to come even if I'm going to sweep your office. So it is not possible that you can say people don't apply. If you look at recruitments that happen at the national level, you are looking for 20 people, you get 50,000 applications. So, Governor, that argument that people don't apply for jobs, here we really don't agree with such arguments.
Maybe let's get all of this first so that you can respond at once.
Two things, Governor. One, this is a constitutional obligation. So, as Senator Sifuna has said that. Number two, out of 3,661, 51 employees are people living with disability. My question to the Governor, how many people, including your partisan staff, have you employed, including casual employees? And finally, I thought in any advert, even if you open online or any, there always a red line that says PWDs and youth and women are encouraged to apply. So I thought that is how you encourage. Senior council, it is not that they refuse to apply. For some of us who have interacted with the officials through PWD council, they even have their own ID if you have doubt. So Chair, I agree with Senator Sifuna that argument is neither here nor there. Or Governor, maybe it's courtesy of your normal rhetoric. It could be the essence.
Order. I think one of the things, maybe Governor, actually you're the one who's causing yourself problems, because the Auditor General is referring to a law, a 2025 law. All of us supported that bill by Crystal Asige. In fact, this provision was quite contentious, but we stood with her, we stuck with her. And this law was passed, was it mid of 2025 or late 2025?
Mid.
Around mid or later in 2025. One of the things we ought to do is to give it some time and do a legislative impact assessment. But anyway, I think in your view, even if we give it time, perhaps nothing will change.
Mr. Chairman, people with disabilities are encouraged to apply. But how do you enforce that encouragement? Other than putting the paper that maybe 3/4 of them haven't read that are being encouraged to apply. Maybe for me, from where I sit, I think if you make a provision of 5%, that provision must be reserved for people with disabilities, and you must fill it. If they don't apply, you look for them and ensure that they...
Let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
When you put out an advert as the county government of Trans Nzoia, do you make it accessible to PWDs? Like, for instance, a blind person, how do you make sure they can see that ad? Because we have to think about these things in terms of access, and I wish Crystal was here today, because many of us who are able-bodied do not actually see the challenges of these people. So we must think about it as a country, because...
What we do, Mr. Chairman, people living with disabilities in Trans Nzoia, they've got an organization. And when we do these adverts, like the one for economists and revenue officers, the chair is called and told, have your people apply. But the challenge has been that most of them do not have these minimum requirements to be considered for these jobs. So basically, they don't apply because you have said you need a D plus. At Form 4, it doesn't have it. They want to apply, but they won't.
The point of order, allow me, you are getting into trouble. You want to tell us PWD, I know PWDs who are well-read and well-qualified.
Order, Governor, and
it
order,
will be
order
unfair
members.
to provide PWD that they are not qualified. I can bring him 100.
We cannot have a conversation about they, because then that implies them versus us.
Yes.
You know, that the tone of that conversation is even wrong. So,
there's a point I think we can carry. What the governor is saying is we consider amending the law to reduce the minimum qualifications for PWDs, which I think makes a lot of sense. If you want to recruit somebody with a minimum D+, for PWD, it should be D, because I think we're getting data which will help us, showing that most of our PWDs don't attain the minimum requirement, so they are knocked off at maybe shortlisting.
Senior counsel, where?
Just a minute.
yeah, let's
Just a minute. You know, we're having a conversation this side and that side, and some of the information that comes here can get input into our report, and we recommend that we amend the law further so that we create lesser stringent qualifications for PWDs, and from where I'm sitting, makes a lot of sense.
I think then that comes back to us because we are the ones who passed this law last year. But this committee, of course, we can make recommendations, but as at now, we are dealing with the law as it is. Senator Ombua,
Thank you, Chair.
Then we close this and move.
Thank you, Chair. One, I think it should never go on record that this committee sat and entertained a conversation that seems to be profiling PWDs. I mean, that should never happen. Chair, the thing to consider is exactly what Senior Counsel is saying. And the ball is here. It's in our court. Because you see, Chair, without appearing to speak for the governor, the governor is telling you his reality. That is his reality on the ground. That is the challenge that he is facing on the ground. For us, we are guided by the law, which may not apply as it should in every county in this country. So, Chair, as I said in the morning, these conversations also give us opportunities to think through legislations that we have passed. So, if the reality in Trans Nzoia is that this category of people are not applying because perhaps the threshold is beyond what they have. What can we do? Is that replicated in other counties? And if that is the case, what can be done to address the situation? I think.
But just for my own curiosity, who set the law that somebody must have a D+ for you to be a driver, for example? You know, I've always wondered. We have VTCs training people, mechanics, drivers, but when it comes to our adverts, we say you must have a D+ Form 4. I don't know D+. Where is that law, legal counsel? You may think there's no law like that. You can just decide people who are supposed to be working in the environment, sweepers, come with a Form 4 certificate or with a Class 8 certificate, and they're employed. We'll be able to get PWDs from that.
Chair, with your indulgence, a quick observation. I want to reject the notion that PWDs are not qualified. That's pedestrian, Chair. Because every job has a description. Even when we're hiring the IEBC commissioners, any independent officers, you'll always find PWD people who are qualified for those positions. Chair, I remember when we were processing the County Attorney Act, when I was chair and then, I used to be powerful, Sifuna, before you came. When I was the chair and then, one of the requirements was that we need a county attorney who is 7 years experience as a practicing advocate. Many people rejected, especially from certain parts of this country, saying you cannot get a lawyer who can come and work, for example, in a region like Mandera or somewhere in Busia. But when the law passed, there were so many advocates who applied for those positions. So it is similar argument, Chair, that we should not reduce this conversation to the qualifications of PWDs. These are affirmative decisions that the governor must give us practical solutions to this issue. Because if we just leave this room and the governor says, you know, the PWDs